So welcome, our beloved colleague, elder, mentor, guide, Susan Henry. As always at SETC, we begin by acknowledging our creator, by acknowledging all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, Susan, please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work.
Great. Thank you, Victor. It's a pleasure to be here. In terms of the work that we do, I would start with, my personal mission and vision, which really date back to my early career in banking and financing, where I left to pursue my entrepreneurial aspirations. And for me, it didn't really take long to realize the challenges of getting startup capital, particularly as a racialized person. And, my entrepreneurial journey didn't last long because what I wanted to do was to take the lessons I learned and combine them with my banking experience to make meaningful contribution to other entrepreneurs who face similar barriers in accessing capital. And although my journey really wasn't long lasting, my drive to support the entrepreneurial community continues to this day. I've always believed in the concept of working towards helping underserved, underrepresented individuals and communities become economically included in our society, particularly within our financial systems. So, I am honored to be part of the solution in creating financial products and services that provide financial stability and to help dismantle the inequities in our society. I'm also fortunate to be doing this work through a credit union, Alterna Savings, which embodies the good in banking. Alterna is guided by our commitment to support the well-being of our members, employees, and communities. And, we promote community economic development through our micro-lending and micro-savings initiatives. That's just one. Encouraging our members to be financially knowledgeable, giving back through many charitable activities. And we do this through transparency at every level of our operations.
I love it. And I love the fact that you're able to conflate all that work in like just one large comprehensive sentence. And we just appreciate your visionary leadership, transparency, and consistent solidarity in so many ways. We really appreciate you, Susan. So my next question is, what inspires you most about your current work?
Well, I'm involved in working to bridge the wealth gap for many underserved and underrepresented individuals. I look at it as a lifelong mission. I was a strong advocate alongside Alterna in bringing the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund microloan pilot to Canada. This is not something that was originally conceptualized as part of the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund program. But, we know access to financing, even small amounts, are important to get someone started. So that's why that was important. Knowing that I'm contributing to financial inclusion and supporting individuals and their connections to the formal financial economy, I think that's a win-win, particularly for all of us. Helping to make contributions in areas such as wealth creation, poverty alleviation, self-empowerment, economic growth in our community is important because, I've seen how this translates into increased income, household stability, access to food, clothing, shelter, and truly rewarding pieces.
What challenges and barriers do you face in your work, and how are you and your team working to overcome some of these challenges?
Well, I think externally, I think the lack of understanding of a credit union and its role in society is a challenge. As a credit union member, you vote for your board of directors and changes to the bylaw. So you have a voice, and it's a strong voice that should be used. It's cooperative. And again, that equal voice is important. And understanding that any Ontario residents can become a member. Profits don't go to shareholders, like other institutions. That's important. And so in our department, we collaborate well with nonprofit organizations that have aligned interests. It's important to know that your membership is important to the credit union. It allows us to continue to doing the good work that we do. So, by becoming a personal member at Alterna, you can be involved in the democratic structure and have a say. Um, I would also want to mention that, some of the work that I do sort of goes beyond microfinance. So when we talk about challenges, some of the good work is I lead Alterna's community impact department. And, that department promotes community economic development. It helps to facilitate strong relationships. And, there are 4 pillars to our department. Our financial resiliency program, which helps to improve the capacity and resilience of the nonprofit and charitable sector to build equity and strengthen their financial sustainability. And while that is not a challenge, it's good work, it's important to know how important that is in the overall building of the social economy today, when you're supporting these nonprofit organizations. When we think of things like our housing crisis, right? We're definitely in a housing crisis today. Alterna for over 25 years have been supporting the cooperative movement, including partnerships with organizations like the Co-op Housing Federation Toronto, CHFT, and the creation of the Co-op Housing Investment Pool. We call it the CHIP program. And so what we've done there is we provide over $3 million in bonus pool that goes towards things like scholarships for residents, and it goes back into the affordable housing sector. This partnership has positioned us as, one of the first financial institutions to provide dedicated supports to the Ontario cooperative housing sector. Our community microfinance program, again, one of the first in Ontario for a financial institution. And Alterna has been running the program since its inception in 2000. We've issued more than 8.6 million in loans. And, what we're doing is helping to create opportunities for financial independence and reduce barriers to banking for those often excluded. Then, if we look at some of the challenges in our society today, it's around things like affordable housing, environmental sustainability, food insecurity, and financial education. Well, we have our community financial inclusion granting programs that support these causes. And then financial education, which is so important today. Social innovators, charitable organization, and underserved individuals in our communities.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. So do you have a set of key funding priorities right now, or priorities? And what has you curious right now in this space? Because it's incredible to hear not only the democratization of finance, but the way that you're building the capacity of constituents across Ontario to be not just financially resilient, but sovereign.
I would say that our funding priorities in our community impact department at Alterna really focuses on how we enhance our community's well-being through access to financing and education. That's always been a priority. So, whether through creating things like meaningful employment, starting and expanding businesses through our microfinance program, improving access to affordable housing through partnerships with our co-op housing and affordable housing providers, or providing education to strengthen the financial capacity of our members and our community. So, we focus on enhancing the well-being of the community. So, our funding priorities has to be in these areas.
That makes perfect sense. So then, how do you feel about the future of community investment in Canada?
Well, I think the financial support that has been created to date, I think it represents great strides, but I think there's still more work to be done in developing the ecosystem and the pipelines for viable initiatives. We need to understand that the ecosystem is not less important than the funding, and that it will take time to develop. So I think everyone is trying to move at a fast pace. System may not be fully ready. But we also need to recognize that the Social Finance Fund launched to wholesalers was only a few months ago. So, I look forward to seeing how these funds will be deployed to underserved communities in particular. And some of the questions I think that I have around this is, will these funds really move the needle, right? Will it answer the need for more hybrid, innovative sources of blended capital, right? How do we combine grants, debt, patient capital all together? And will the funds reach those equity-seeking groups? I really want to see that. Will we see more creative, innovative projects arising that can have a legacy impact? Because in the end, what is going to be left behind? So I think overall, I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see how the Social Finance Fund rolls out. I haven't seen anything yet. But again, those are the questions that's really at the back of my mind that I would like to see this fund answer.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more in terms of your analysis. And definitely, it's yet to be seen, not just the impact, the sustainability, but if the cost of capital will actually make it to the groups that were originally positioned as the challenge and as the real beneficiaries. And it's my hope that the true shareholders, the Canadian taxpayer, is able to lean in more into this black box and find out what's really going on. So definitely, I couldn't agree more with your analysis. Thank you for your leadership as always. So my next question, what is your ultimate goal and what does success look like to you and your colleagues at Alterna?
Well, when I think of our community impact department, I'm going to break it down into a few areas. So in the community, I think the biggest impact is really on the lives of individuals that we're serving. We want to help community organizations continue with their important work. And we want to do this by offering tailored products and services to support their unique needs in the sector. And overall, we wanted to really strengthen the financial resiliency of our not-for-profit organizations right now so they can continue their good work. On our community microfinance program, we want to continue to see economic stability and job creation in our communities. And, we also want to be able to reduce barriers and frictions with financial services by improving inclusiveness. So we want entrepreneurs to have more access to financing, wraparound supports, tools, and resources. And then if I think about our community financial education, we want to continue to support the financial health and well-being of individuals through inclusive and accessible financial education. Empowerment is important. So we want to be able to empower people in our communities today.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. So my last question, Susan, do you have any closing thoughts or call to actions for our listeners and our viewers?
Yeah, we are in precarious times with our economic and environmental systems right now, right? High inflation, interest rates, climate change, food insecurities. And I think, this is a time where we have to lean in and we're going to have to offer financial advice and education to our members and communities. We're going to have to be proactive and be part of the solution in fostering equity and equality, financial well-being and resilience for those who are going to need it. That's important. And it's really, these are some of the reasons why this year our community granting program, the causes, like I said before, are going to be in affordable and cooperative housing, given our housing crisis, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we know the importance to underserved groups, environmental sustainability, and food insecurity. So, those are going to be all very important, I think, actions we need to take. But I also think personally for me, being an elder now, that there is an importance in helping emerging young leaders in the space, helping provide mentorship, coaching, whatever it takes so that, they are going to be, the leaders of tomorrow. And so it's important for us to participate, or for me to participate in that.
Thank you so much, Susan, for everything. You're a thought leader, a practitioner, an elder, a mentor, a guide. You volunteered thousands of hours on boards, on committees to advance economic justice for underrepresented, underserved groups in so many instances. And there's so many folks that have leaned on you over years. And it's so important to give folks their flowers. And you by far are one of those leaders that have been uncompromising in terms of really trying to ensure that justice, access, inclusion, diversity, and equity is centered in all conversations and all tables you sit at. So we honor you, and we just give thanks for all that you do for so many. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership in the space.
I appreciate you. And we'll close the way we began this interview by acknowledging our creator, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you.